You stand up from your couch after an hour of scrolling your phone. For a split second, your vision goes dark at the edges. The room tilts. Your legs feel like they've forgotten what they're doing. You grab the armrest, hold still, and within a few seconds, everything comes back to normal. Most people write it off as tired eyes or not eating enough. But what just happened inside your body had nothing to do with food or fatigue. It was something far more precise, far more urgent, and it was triggered by nothing more than gravity. Here's what's actually going on. The moment you go from sitting to standing, roughly 300 to 800 milliliters of blood, nearly a full bottle of water, immediately drops toward your legs. Gravity pulls it downward, away from your chest and head. Your heart, which was comfortably pumping from a position of stable pressure, suddenly has less blood returning to it. Your brain, which demands about 20% of your entire blood supply, despite being only 2% of your body weight, begins to receive slightly less blood than it needs. That drop in pressure reaches your brain within seconds, and for a brief moment, your neurons are running on slightly less fuel than they need to operate clearly. That's the darkness. That's the spin. But here's the part most people never think about. This happens to everyone who stands up. Every single time. The question isn't why you occasionally feel dizzy. The question is why you don't faint every time you get off the couch. The answer comes down to a system so fast and so precise, it defies what most people imagine the body is capable of. Inside your neck and at the base of your aorta, the body's largest artery, are specialized pressure sensors called baroreceptors. These sensors are monitoring your blood pressure continuously, every fraction of a second. The moment they detect that pressure dropping as you rise, they fire off signals to the brainstem almost instantaneously. The brainstem doesn't pause to think. It immediately activates your autonomic nervous system, the part of your nervous system that runs automatically, outside of conscious control. Within 2 to 3 seconds, your heart rate increases, your blood vessels tighten, and blood is pushed back up toward your brain. The pressure recovers. The lights come back on. You're standing normally, and you never even had to ask your body to do any of it. That entire response, from pressure drop to full recovery, takes roughly the same amount of time as a single breath. It is one of the fastest involuntary survival responses the human body performs on a daily basis. So why does it fail sometimes? The system works perfectly when it has the right conditions, but several things can slow it down or blunt its effectiveness. Dehydration is the most common culprit. When your blood volume is lower than it should be, there's simply less fluid to redistribute, and that drop in pressure when you stand becomes more dramatic. In hot weather, blood vessels near the skin dilate to help cool the body down, which means less is available for the brain. People who've been lying in bed for an extended period, or who sit for hours without moving, find that the system becomes sluggish because it hasn't needed to compensate recently. Alcohol causes blood vessels to relax and expand, making pressure drops more pronounced. Certain blood pressure medications work by keeping blood pressure lower overall, which means the safety margin is smaller to begin with. Anemia reduces the oxygen carrying capacity of whatever blood does reach the brain, so even normal pressure drops feel more severe. In people with diabetes, nerve damage over time can impair the very signaling system that activates those blood vessel responses, meaning the brain doesn't get the message to compensate as quickly. And as we age, the baroreceptors become less sensitive and the blood vessels lose some of their elasticity, both of which slow the recovery. In all of these cases, the dizziness is the same experience, a brief window where the brain's blood supply falls slightly short, but it lasts a second or two longer than it should. Most of the time, this is harmless. But there are situations where dizziness on standing is your body's way of signaling something that needs attention. If episodes are happening frequently and not resolving within a few seconds, if you've actually fainted or lost consciousness, if the dizziness comes with chest pain, a racing or irregular heartbeat, shortness of breath, weakness on one side of the body, or difficulty speaking, these are not symptoms to dismiss. A healthcare professional needs to hear about them. Orthostatic hypotension, the medical term for a sustained drop in blood pressure on standing, affects a significant portion of older adults and can increase the risk of falls and cardiovascular complications when left unaddressed. The good news is that for most healthy people, the fix is straightforward. Stand up slowly and give your body the 2 to 3 seconds it needs to activate that pressure response. Drink enough water throughout the day so your blood volume stays stable. The NHS and American Heart Association both note that adequate hydration is one of the simplest ways to maintain cardiovascular stability. Before standing from a long rest, flex your calves and thighs for a few seconds. This squeezes blood from the leg veins back toward the heart before gravity gets involved. Avoid standing abruptly after long periods of sitting or lying down. If you're on blood pressure medication and noticing frequent dizziness when you rise, that conversation is worth having with whoever prescribes it, because the dose or timing may be adjustable. Each of these strategies is doing the same thing, giving your baroreceptors a shorter distance to close, or giving your blood vessels an easier starting position from which to compensate. The next time the room briefly tilts as you stand, you don't need to panic. You're not collapsing. You're not sick. Your heart, your blood vessels, and your nervous system are in the middle of a 3-second negotiation with gravity, and in the vast majority of cases, they win before you've even noticed the fight started. That's not a malfunction. That's a remarkably well-engineered machine doing exactly what it was designed to do.